charge no cost for the services that we provide. And prime contractors, you may or may not know, are actually required to solicit certified firms if they are seeking to meet so those procurement and participation goals and requirements. And so once you are certified, these prime contractors are going to be required to solicit from certified firms, and your firm may be that one that gets that partnership. So the City of Austin certification is also recognized by other governmental entities, and we can also make recommendations to Hub for state certification. So if you are not state certified as a Hub, but you get MBE or WBE certified through us, what we do is we take that application and that information that you've provided to us, and we make that recommendation on your behalf to the state. And that really eliminates an additional step in the process for you, a separate application process, separate submittal of supporting documentation to the state. And so that just kind of alleviates more constraints for you to get that Hub certification as well. And then with the ACDBE and the DBE certification, that is actually recognized by statewide. So if you fall within the 5-county district that is recognized by the City of Austin and you become certified, then you're actually DBE and ACDBE certified throughout the state. And then you may also be recognized nationwide if the different states, their TUCP program and those rules allow for interstate certification for DBE. And then something also important to kind of note as well is that once you become M and WBE certified through the City of Austin, then you're certified for 4 years, barring any major changes to the firm, and you're reviewed every 4 years. So it's not like every single year you're going to have to resubmit or fill out a brand new application or anything like that. So it's just to help make the process a little bit easier on everyone. All right, so there's different types of certifications that are offered by the City of Austin. On the screen, I've talked about the minority-owned and the women-owned business enterprise. And then another local certification is the Small Business Enterprise certification. And this largely falls under the Small Business Construction Program offered by the City of Austin, designed for construction projects that are funded by the city of under $50,000. And the SBE program is different from the M and the WBE program because it is race and gender neutral. But you do have to qualify as a small business as defined by the Small Business Administration. And then your average gross receipts for the most recent 3 years cannot exceed $16.5 million. So here on the screen, the top three, the MW and the SBE, are all going to be local projects, so City of Austin funded projects. And the maximum PNW, which is personal net worth for the M and the WBE programs, is $1.583 million. And I'll talk about that in preceding slides as well. And then just know that the site audit is a City of Austin, just at the City of Austin's discretion, depending on the type of firm that you are, for the M, the WB, the W, and the SBE. Now, just a little bit about the DBE and the ACDBE. Those both, as I mentioned, are federal certifications, and they're going to be for federal funded projects. And the maximum PNW, personal net worth, for those is going to be a little bit lower, and that's going to be $1.32 million. And the site audit is a federal requirement for those certifications. Right now, COVID-19, everything going on, these are being held virtually. That may change moving forward into the future, but currently it is virtual. And then also important to note that if you are a woman and a minority, you can be dually certified through the City of Austin. All right, so a little bit about the certification requirements for the M and the WBE. So you must be a for-profit small business as defined by the Small Business Administration. You must be, as Hannah mentioned earlier, at least 51% owned, managed, and controlled by a socially and economically disadvantaged individual. The firm must be. And in the next slide, I'll go over in more detail what that means, socially and economically disadvantaged. You also must be, if you are an applicant, a US citizen or legally admitted resident. And you must have experience directly related to the firm's primary scope of work. Now for the M and the WBE certification, you must have a facility that it has resources that is located in Texas for at least 90 days prior to submitting the application. And for the DBE and ACDBE, all the requirements remain the same listed on this slide, except for that 90-day requirement of having the facility and resources there. Your firm can be a brand new startup and still qualify as long as you meet all of the other certification requirements. And then if you are a firm that is located in the counties of Travis, Williamson, Hayes, Caldwell, and Bastrop, then you must be available for a site audit. So what is who is considered socially disadvantaged? Well, socially disadvantaged person belongs to either one of the following groups: Asian American, African American, Native American, Hispanic, or woman. And then any individuals that don't fall within one of those aforementioned presumed groups may still be eligible, but they have to prove their socially disadvantaged status as it relates to barriers to access to education, capital, and employment. So who's considered economically disadvantaged? So I touched on that personal net worth earlier. So you will, as a requirement for these certifications, you will be required to submit a personal net worth statement, which really attests to your PNW not exceeding, for the local program M&W, $1.583 million, and then for the DBE, ACDBE, $1.32 million. And an individual's PNW includes only that applicant's share of all their assets held personally. And really it excludes the community property assets. So if you are married, you have a spouse, and you have those community property assets, really the PNW is concerned with what is held directly by the applicant, and as well as the spouse's interest or the individual's ownership interest in the applicant firm, that should be excluded as well in the PNW. And any equity that they have in their primary residence is going to be excluded. And then lastly, the retirement savings or investments that you have, we're not trying to look at the holistic or total value. Really, the PNW is concerned with if those investments or savings were distributed at the present time, that is including any tax and interest penalties taken out. That's the real number that we're trying to look at there for calculating the PNW. So the supporting documents that are going to be requested, there's going to be personal and business related documents. So the personal information that will be requested: resumes of owners and key staff, PNW, as I mentioned. Now, if you're applying for the MBE and the WBE, there is an alternate PNW that may be submitted. However, that's going to require a signed statement by yourself and your CPA attesting to that PNW not exceeding that maximum limit. The personal tax returns are going to be requested, the most recent personal tax return, and then proof of citizenship. So a copy of your passport or your birth certificate or proof of legal residency. And then if your firm is providing professional services, engineering, architecture, so forth, then we will require a copy of the professional license. Now, business related information. So business tax returns, a bank signature card, any company documents, that's going to differ based on the structure. And then lease agreements and proof of payment for the leasing or ownership of your office locations, proof of contributions to acquire or ownership or to start that company. And then equipment list, if you do have major equipment, contracts, invoices, and then if your firm has inventory and is selling goods, then an inventory list as well. Please note that, while this is a lot of information, it is all, any information that is provided to us from the applicant is confidential. And that is all proprietary. Any non-proprietary information that the City of Austin may create, that may be requested in an open records request, but none of the information that you would provide is. But it is highly, highly encouraged and critical that all of this documentation is submitted through the certification and compliance system where it is housed securely. So not through email. Okay, just touching, I know we're running out on time here. So briefly going over the DBE and the ACDBE. The DBE is going to be federally funded, as I mentioned, and those sources are going to be funds to aviation, highways, and public transit as it relates to the Department of Transportation. And the City of Austin is actually part of the Texas Unified Certification Program. So if your business is located within the 5 counties that are listed here, then we would be your certifying entity. And then, as I mentioned, once you become certified through the City of Austin as a DBE or ACDBE, that is recognized statewide and then possibly nationwide as well. And then the ACDBE is related to federal aviation and administration funds. And those are the airports that participate in the program. And of course, there's going to be links to more resources at the end of this presentation as well. And then the small business enterprise certification that falls under the small business construction program, as I mentioned, designed for projects under $50,000 that are city funded and is race and gender neutral. All right, so how to get started. While I've linked here the City of Austin's purchasing database, which is Vendor Connection. So you'll follow that link there, start your profile, and then really enter your contact information and your commodity codes and get started. And then once you complete that process, you'll want to complete your application and submit all supporting documentation through the SMBR certification and compliance system, which is linked below as well. I've just attached a screenshot so that you know exactly what the certification and compliance system looks like and what you're expected to see. And of course, our contact information. I know this was a ton of information that we went over today, but rest assured that our staff and our wonderful counselors are eagerly awaiting your call to answer any questions that you have. We have an email there and a main phone line as well. And any questions related to compliance, contracts, and participation goals, that should be directed to our compliance department, and I've included their email as well. And then there was a ton of acronyms that I mentioned earlier, so I've got some definitions here. And then, of course, the links that I mentioned as well to read up and learn more about the different resources that the city offers. All right, thank you so much for listening to me today. If you have any questions, those will be saved for the end of the full presentation, but thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Betsy, for this extremely comprehensive and clear presentation. And the slides are beautiful. Thank you so much. I do encourage you all, if you do have questions as you're listening in, to send in your questions in the Q&A chat box at the bottom of your Zoom screen. And we'll have a chance at the very end of this session to address those questions. So thank you again, Betsy, and we're going to turn it over to AISD. So Annie and Danita, over to you.
Thank you. Let me bring up the presentation. Thank you for inviting the Austin Independent School District's HUB program and our contract and procurement departments to have this platform. We truly appreciate it, and we value our partnership that we have with the greater Austin Asian Chamber. So thank you. So today I will start off by presenting some information regarding our HUB program department at Austin ISD. I will then pass the baton on to Annie Collier, who will speak to a broader sense of our procurement, contract and procurement department, and some valuable tips and information for you to take away. So first, I want to acknowledge that we are an entity that is very passionate about building equity in our contracting. So we have our mission statement written here. I won't read that word for word, but in essence, what our goal is as a department is to ensure that we have and provide full and fair access for our hub firms to compete for district work. And so that involves a multitude of things that needs to take place internally in order for that to happen. And so with that, I want to draw your attention to the graphic here. So in order to promote equity in contracting, we try to focus on a variety of things, but I wanted to call out these three points that I have here. So one, we focus on executing impactful programs. That also includes being strategic around how we set up and create and develop internal policies and procedures. And so there's one I'm very excited to share with you all, and that's going to be later in the presentation, but that'll give you an example of how intentional our department is in terms of creating opportunities for our hub firms. The second one is leveraging external partnerships. And again, partnerships such as the one that we have with the Greater Austin Chamber, and being able to partner in this way to be a part of a webinar so that we can bring to you the resources that are available to you as hub firms, and also, you know, encourage you to engage with us. We want to do business with you. And so we're here ready to support that effort and connect you to the opportunities with the district. And then thirdly, we host hub forums. And so this is really out of our outreach realm. And so what we do with our hub forums is we provide a platform for our hub firms to meet with our department, our hub department, and we just talk about your services that you provide. We give you some general information on the best way to approach and interact with our leadership team within procurement, within construction management department. And then once we have that base level meeting, we then set up a second level meeting so that you have direct connection to those business leaders. So we all know that to the extent that you're able to build those relationships, that opens up, you know, more opportunity for you to be known whenever those opportunities come about. And so I do also want to mention that, as Betsy mentioned, we are one of those entities that, you know, provide a program. And so we're not a certifying entity. We do have annual aspirational goals that we set. And so for us at the district, our aggregate goal for construction is 21.9. And for Asian Native American, that breaks out for construction 1.9%. And then in terms of professional services, our aggregate annual goal is 28.5. And for Asian Native American, for how that breaks out for our ethnic goal is 7.4%. And I'm looking away just to make sure that I'm accurate with that information. And so again, we have very specific targets that we want to meet and that we share, and we, you know, we set those based on the project that we have and the available opportunities within that project for scope, and also the availability of our hub firms that we have. So moving into connecting you to opportunities, I wanted to provide a list of some typical construction trades that we have. And then I also wanted to take the opportunity to let you all know that we are currently seeking subcontractors for the winter storm damage that was done to many of our buildings within the district. And so I highlighted the trades in blue. So if your company provides any of these trades, roofing, painting, wall, flooring, plumbing, any of those that you see highlighted in blue, these are emergency services that we need. And so I encourage you to reach out to the hub program, and I'll be sharing our contact information at the end of the presentation so that we can connect you to our general contractors that are working on repairing damage that was caused by the winter storm. And then just in general, these trades are some typical construction related trades that we have. And again, encourage you to reach out to our department to request a hub forum. We can have a conversation and see where the best fit would be for your company. Here is an immediate upcoming project opportunity that we currently have posted. We do use a e-procurement system called Bonfire, and I will not go into detail about Bonfire. Annie is going to share a lot of information with you about that. And so just in general, this is where you would find the information. But here's a snapshot of the project description and also the trades that are connected to that particular project. And as you can see, we have set goals at 11.7 for our minority participation and 10.2 for our women-owned business participation. So again, if you're interested in this particular project, it is in play, but there's still time for you if you have questions once you read the solicitation documents. The bids are due March 11th by 2:00 p.m. So this is the exciting news I wanted to share with you, connecting it back to creating and having impactful programs and strategies in place. So one of the changes that our department has made as of January 11th is that we are now part of the evaluation process for all of our competitive seal proposals. So the hub, our hub department now has weighted value to that process. And so this speaks to our intention and being intentional about really wanting to increase our hub participation. And so with that, again, I welcome you to reach out. More than happy to sit with each of you to talk about what that looks like. You know, what are those requirements so that you fully understand them? But broadly, I just wanted you to see here how we kind of break out what that weighted value is. And essentially, for hub participation, you can get up to a maximum of 8 points. And there's a lot more that goes into that, but I won't go into detail here today. We have developed and implemented a new process and form called Hub Equity and Contracting Plan, where we now require our bidders to submit their overall strategy in terms of how they intend to maintain their levels of participation that they commit to the district. And then just really show us what do they have in place from a company perspective around policy to increase participation, around policy to remove barriers for you performing as subcontractors. And so we want to make sure that this is a shared responsibility from the district perspective and also our contractors. And then we check references as well as part of this overall process. So again, we're very excited about this. Our whole goal is to continue to advance and strengthen our program. And this is just one way that we are making that happen. Always feel like it's important for you to be familiar and aware of who our construction management department leadership is. Those relationships are key. And so here is just showing you the photo of our leadership team on this side. And again, as I mentioned, when we have a hub forum with you, that second level meeting includes this team. So you're getting direct visibility to our decision makers. And here's our hub program department. I'm Danita Caldwell. We have Gerald Green, who's a hub coordinator on our team. Melfi Penn, also a hub coordinator. Jesus Rodriguez, hub coordinator. Cheryl Johnson, contracts management specialist, and our admin, Michelle Parker. We are available on LinkedIn and Twitter. So we invite you to like us and follow us so that you can get some great information. And then here's our department website and our main line, and all of this will be available to you following the this webinar. And so now I will turn it over to Annie for procurement.
Thank you, Danita. Appreciate that. And I also appreciate the opportunity that we were invited for this webinar and to give an overview of how vendors can provide goods and services for Austin ISD. AISD has 125 campuses with over 74,000 students that we serve, and we have over 10,000 employees. As part of contracts and procurement services, our department works with schools, departments, vendors, stakeholders to provide goods and service at the highest quality and best value for the district. Now, Danita did talk about the construction side of it, and this is our construction management department area. We give them a nickname as Procon, procurement and construction. So we have Sarah Hildebrandt Gasper as our senior procurement specialist, Morgan Bright as procurement specialist, and we have a vacancy as a manager. And then we also have our contracts people, that's Linda Nadine and Cassandra Alvarez. So construction is one of our teams that we have at AISD, but we also have additional teams where we have oversight over the bid solicitation process. And that includes instructional, business and operational, technology, and food services. An instructional team, they support a variety of academic programs for students, teachers, and administrative staff, including instructional materials for all the core curriculum areas. Our business and operation teams, they secure goods and services associated with the maintenance, transportation, and the day-to-day operations of our AISD facilities. This includes commodity items ranging from purchasing vehicles to janitorial supplies, and they also work closely with our AISD warehouse to ensure that we have certain items in stock and available to campuses on a regular basis. Our technology team in contracts and procurement, they're responsible for creating and maintaining strategic vendor relationships and supply agreements with technology vendors. This includes the purchasing of hardware, software, and peripherals. They work closely with our various departments, especially our technology team at AISD, to ensure that the products that we purchase are compatible with the AISD network environment and provide the functionality necessary for an educational environment. And then we have our food services team. And of course, they're responsible for purchasing goods and services for all our AISD campuses that provide the lunches, the breakfast, and all the equipment that the employees need to provide. Okay, you can go to the next one. Yeah. Here's information that is very valuable when you submit a proposal or interested on the construction project solicitation. You can find this information on our website under AISD Contract and Procurement. And it's very important that you go through and read all the RFP documents that are available. Now, all the documents that you see, the RFP solicitation documents, these are for services and purchases that are 50,000 or greater. So it requires a formal solicitation. And if you are awarded, you will receive a service agreement. And if that service agreement is over 100,000, that will need board approval. So you will get all this information from our buyers. But when you do go in and look at your RFP document, the competitive seal project, you need to make sure you look at the different dates to make sure you have everything in at the specific time. Because if it's not during that time period, when it's due at 2 p.m., then we may not be able to use it or review it or look at it, and you won't have that opportunity of working with AISD. You also need to review the documentation that's required. So you need to look at everything, all the forms that's necessary, and that's for construction or either any of the other bid solicitations that we will post. And you need to look at the bonding and insurance requirements that we will have in that document. It's also important that you attend the pre-bid. This is a way for you to network and you can ask questions to get clarification on things. So everything that we're asking for, that we're looking for, you'll be able to include that in your proposal and you'll have a better chance of being awarded. And we'll also have additional information regarding COVID-19 and any other type of procurement process that may be available for you. Can you go to the next one, Danita? This is a list of cooperatives, and AISD Board of Trustees. They approved and authorized the use of interlocal participation agreements. And this is to maintain, for AISD to maintain membership and participate in various purchasing cooperatives. And cooperatives of use, they have vendors that are associated with them to increase efficiency and cost effectiveness. These cooperatives have completed the purchasing function to satisfy the requirements of our department to seek competitive bids for purchase of goods and services. So they've already established the pre-negotiated contracts for goods and services, and we as a district will not have to do that. We won't have to do that because these vendors under these cooperatives have already gone through that procurement method. So it would be beneficial for vendors to be awarded under cooperatives because you'll have access to many school districts and other organizations to provide services, goods and services. And to become a vendor with these cooperatives, you probably have to go to their website and register, and what they will notify you when there are different commodities that you may be interested in and may submit a proposal. We are also, as a district, a member of the Central Texas Purchasing Alliance, CTPA, which over 130 school districts in Central Texas and throughout the state are members of. And that's real beneficial for us because if they're a member, if the school district is a member of Central Texas Purchasing Alliance, we can go and utilize a vendor maybe that we would like to use, and they've already done the procurement method. They've already done the whole process of the bid solicitation process. So all we have to do is like piggyback off of what they've already done, utilizing their service agreement or contract if it's within our statement of work. So sometimes there are vendors that come to us and they let us know that they've worked with other school districts, and that's very beneficial for them. And we may be able to utilize the contract that's already in place for that. Okay, you can change it to the next one, please. All right, we are so excited about our new e-procurement system. This is Bonfire. We're the one, we purchased Bonfire to use their system, and it's been really great. We started this effective recently, and we're still going through some of the problems and issues of our learning, our buyers trying to learn the process, but it's going really well. We've had great support from Bonfire, and we're so happy to be able to offer this to our vendors. Instead of vendors having to go and look on our website and then submit proposals through the mail and having to submit different documents and flash drives and everything we ask, we'll be able to upload the information into this system. So when you go into our website, Contracts and Procurement, you'll see this come up. And before you're registered, you'll be able to see the information that's here as an overview. So the first column has the status of being open. So this bid solicitation is still open for you to submit a proposal. The second column identifies the bid solicitation number that you will see on mostly all of the documents that you review. And then we have the project. This is just giving you the type of project, the name of it. To get more information, of course, you have to go in and to register to get that information. The closing date, that's when the deadline of the proposal is due. And then it lets you know how many days are left for you to submit your proposal. And then the last column gives you the action where you can go and view all the documents, all the requirements, everything you need to be able to submit your proposal, and hopefully it will be awarded. So this is really good information that we have. Bonfire is available for you to go in at any time to review documents that's required. You can submit your questions through Bonfire, and then we will respond and let you know when. And if you've downloaded documents already, Bonfire will let us know and will send you an email if we have any additional documents that we add. So if you go in and have interest in it and download documents, we will know who downloaded those, and we can send you different emails and different information that we've added, the responses to the questions that vendor has submitted, or if there's additional addendums that we need to add to it. So that information will be there too. Now, it's very important that you register. And the district, when you register through Bonfire, you can go to our website to register. The district will send you emails, notification through Bonfire when an AISD solicitation is issued relating to the product and service commodity that you selected during your registration process. Now, when you go into register and you select your commodities, this is based on the NIGP commodity code that we use. So every time that we have a bid solicitation posted, Bonfire will notify you and let you know that because you put this as your interest, that you have expertise in this area and would like to submit a proposal, they will send you that notification. So it's very important for you to register. Registration does not automatically make you an approved vendor. It only provides the district with information to electronically notify you when a new solicitation is open for the products or services you offer and have selected during the registration process. If awarded, you will only be the approved vendor under that specific bid solicitation number with a generated service agreement and a purchase order. Okay, you can go to the next one, please.
So in the interest of time, are we okay? Or can we continue?
So I think we can, if we can have maybe a couple more minutes in your presentation, and then I think we'll have enough time for questions.
I'm almost done. I'm sorry.
Okay, yep.
Almost done. Yeah. This slide is just telling you the information assistant that Bonfire has available. If you have any problems with Bonfire, you will contact them and they will help you, not our AISD staff. So this is just saying they have user guides and frequently asked questions and articles. The next slide, please. And this is where you can go register. Like I said earlier, you can go register on our website, which will be no problem. Either way is fine. And the next one. But if you want someone to talk to guide you through your process, Bonfire has support there too. You can call someone and talk to them and they will help you through the process, as well as you can email one. Thank you so much. I appreciate this time.
Thank you, Annie.
Thank you, Annie and Danita. Thank you both so very much for this incredibly thorough presentation. We really appreciate your time. So we have around 9 minutes remaining in this webinar, and we do have some questions so far from our attendees. Thank you for submitting your questions. So our first question, and I'll just repeat this, and it seems like Deanna is going to be the one that's going to be answering this question. So the question goes, it was mentioned that you must have a facility with resources. Does that mean that if you run your business out of your home, you do not qualify?
No, it doesn't mean that. We have a lot of business owners that do work out of their home. And so wherever that site is, that it can be your primary residence. It can be a rental or lease office. Just let us know what that is, and then we will work with you to help you figure out and establish that you have a location in Texas.
Great, thank you so much. So our next question is it a challenge as a new company to get contracts after receiving certifications? So this is kind of an open floor at this point for all of you, all of our speakers. So would anyone like to volunteer to answer this question?
I mean, I wouldn't mind starting out if my other colleagues don't mind me taking a first shot at it. I think that generally certifications, you have to think of it as a tool. Certifications and registrations, as you heard in various databases that get you access to procurement opportunities, are all tools to assist you in being able to hear about and acquire, hopefully, potential opportunities for yourself and your company. But it's a tool, kind of like a hammer. it won't do anything unless you use it. It won't do anything. It won't build anything on its own unless you use it. So as a business owner, you still have to do all the things that you normally do. Take advantage of the opportunities to attend, the pre-bid meetings, outreach events, register to hear about the various solicitations that you're interested in for your particular type of industry, so that you're able to get all of that information, and then you ultimately make the decision if you're going to bid on a particular project or not, and then hopefully eventually get awarded for it. So it's a tool.
Thanks, Deanna. Anyone else want to jump in on that question?
Yeah, I'll add a little bit to that. I totally agree with Deanna, and then that's where we come into play in terms of, I mentioned the hub forums and, building those relationships and speaking to, no matter what entity that is, their internal leadership, and, knowing the procurement team, knowing their diversity team, whether that's hub, MWBE, or whatever that program is. And then also building relationships with, if you're interested in working as a subcontractor, remember that you can partner with a prime contractor. So building those relationships, and you get that information by networking and attending pre-bids and seeing who's going to be interested in submitting on those opportunities. So I would like to add that tidbit.
Thanks, Anita.
Yeah, I would like to add to that, and I would align with Diana and Dinita, and with my experience after certification, understanding the procurement and your NAIC codes, and within the NAIC codes, the commodity codes is very, very important. And the procurement process for each organization is very different, and there are hub coordinators who are available to help you all. So meet them, have one-on-one meetings, and try to understand the procurement, try to make sure to create a pool of all the upcoming procurement list, and attend the pre-bids, as Diana and Anita told. And not only that, do some exhibits. So you can exhibit your company and give some kind of send outs, like about your company capability statements. That would really help you all.
Thank you for jumping in, Usha. Really appreciate it. So I think given the time, it's perfect. We have one more question from our attendees. So this question is, with requirements listed for evaluation of hub companies, can experience and previous individual projects of company staff be considered for new companies versus previous company projects? Anyone else? Anyone like to jump in on that?
I didn't know if Danita was going to answer.
Yeah, I was gonna jump. Actually, I'm sorry, I need you to repeat the question because I was trying to tell in.
Sure. Okay. So the question is, with requirements listed for evaluation of hub companies, can experience and previous individual projects of company staff be considered for new companies versus previous company projects? And I believe as a panelist, you'll be able to read the question in the Q&A if just in case you want to, and it's a long question, so.
Yeah, so I will respond to part of that, I think, if I understand it correctly. I think that while it's important to have some, what we call either relevant experience or past experience related to a particular project that you're bidding on, I always encourage, new companies, when you're introducing yourself and your company, because a lot of times companies will say, oh, well, I've been in business 5 years, but yet they have like more than 20, 30 years of experience. And then their team, their leadership teams also come with a wealth of experience. And so really combined experience in the industry is what you want to communicate. So while you may have been formed recently, your combined experience with your leadership team is very important to communicate. And then again, every entity is different. And so I've been from corporate to public so I'm speaking generally, not necessarily specific to AISD, but for us, we do really look at that relevant experience, your past experience, especially when you're talking about doing very specific work, like for a school. Some of those intricacies that you would need to have is very important. If you're partnering with a general contractor and you're performing as a sub, then you get the benefit of, their experience, bringing that to the table and being able to partner in that way.
And If I can add one more thing to that, I would also say, don't discount your previous experience in other jobs that you might have. Those things are relevant as well. And for the city of Austin, we're looking at the particular experience that the applicant, the owner, the qualifying applicant has as an individual. And I agree totally with Danita, the experience and expertise that your staff might have or projects they might have worked on are important. However, for the city of Austin, we're really looking at the actual applicants, the majority owner, the qualifying applicants' experience and expertise in the scopes of work that they're selected and be certified in.
Thank you both very much for responding to that question. So I think it is time for us to start wrapping up this webinar. We want to thank you all again for taking the time to join us, and a special thanks to our speakers and our sponsors, Esolvit, as well as the City of Austin Economic Development Department, and of course our co-hosts who are here with us today, the Small and Minority Business Resources Department at SMBR and AISD Hub departments. So again, we're so grateful for your time, and we will be sending out a post-webinar survey. We'd love to hear from you all about your experience attending this webinar and how we can offer more resources such as this. So thank you all again, and wishing you all a safe and healthy rest of your Thursday and week. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.